I'm Dr. Hubert. I'm the owner of Advanced Remedy Center in Tyler, Texas, and I'm here to talk about PIR therapy at Advanced Remedy Center. PIR stands for Physiologic Insulin Resensitization. And basically, what we're doing is we are using insulin as a hormone instead of a drug to revitalize insulin receptors for diabetics. Now, PIR therapy works very well for both pre-diabetics, type 2 diabetics, and type 1 diabetics. So now what happens, the way diabetes is managed in America is it's by the use of either metformin or a drug like metformin or insulin. And the problem with those drugs is they will lower your blood sugar for a quick, immediate response. But the biggest problem is that they flood the insulin receptor. So every time you use one of those drugs, it floods the insulin receptor and desensitizes the insulin receptor. And what this means is, this means a person starts off with a little metformin, a little more metformin, or a lot of metformin, and then they move on to a little insulin, a little more insulin, a lot of insulin, and it's taking more and more medication to maintain the same blood sugar, to get the same results. So you're having to increase your medication to stabilize the blood sugar. So what we do with PIR therapy is we pulse very tiny amounts of insulin, very small amounts of insulin via an IV. And what this does is it mimics the pancreas's ability to make insulin. So by pulsing this insulin, someone from my staff will come along while you're on this IV and check your blood sugar every 15 minutes. And what we're doing there is we're keeping you in a nice tight range. This keeps you from getting too high or too low. So by keeping you in this tight range for about a 2.5 to 3 hour period, it gives the insulin receptor a break. And when you give the insulin receptor a break, it actually revitalizes and heals itself. What you should notice with your PIR therapy, you should notice things like diabetic neuropathy improving or going away. You should also notice the demand for medication starting to decrease. You should notice your blood sugar becoming more stable. You'll also notice things like retinopathy improving. So you're on this IV, we check your blood sugar every 15 minutes, we keep you in a nice tight range that gives the insulin receptor a break. When you give the insulin receptor a break, it starts to heal. And by lowering, and this will ultimately lower the demand for insulin, for metformin, for any of the other drugs, much like metformin, just cause your body to make a lot of insulin. So this is something that's been around for quite some time. It's been in Europe for quite some time. I'm one of the first offices in the United States that's actually doing this PIR therapy. But this is for any diabetic, any person you know that's a type 1 diabetic, type 2 diabetic, pre-diabetic. If you're taking medications, frustrated with the medications, or if you're one of those people who are really trying hard to do the right things. You've radically changed your diet. You've started exercising. You feel like you've cut enough sugar out of your diet, but yet your A1C and your blood glucose levels will not respond. That means you have insulin resistance, and what we need to do is restore those insulin receptors. Now, the beautiful part of PIR therapy, it is FDA approved. It is also recognized by Medicare and all major insurance companies. So this is something that if you're a diabetic, this is a breath of fresh air, because you know how it goes. It typically starts off relatively mild, relatively simple. You're watching your A1C, you go back to the doctor, you hope it's a little better. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's not. When it's not, they definitely add more medication, and you're kind of on what I call the medical merry-go-round. And there's nothing wrong with the traditional treatment. There's just a better way. And now we can use insulin the way it was really designed to be used. We can use it as a hormone instead of a drug. We're very mindful of those insulin receptors, and we give them the opportunity to heal themselves. And for people that are suffering with diabetic neuropathy, diabetic retinopathy, wounds that won't heal, this is a great opportunity for you. Or if you're just absolutely frustrated with the way your diabetes is being managed today, this is an option for you. This is an option to kind of break those chains and really lower the amount of medications that's absolutely necessary. So I brought PIR therapy here to help as many people as possible. Diabetes is a major problem in the United States. Today, there are 84 million diabetics in the country. There's 96 million pre-diabetics, and there's 8,300 new cases diagnosed each and every day. So if you're struggling with your diabetes, you're not alone. And if it's something that's been going on for quite some time and you've just been watching yourself go downhill, even though you're trying really hard, you're trying to consume less sugar and trying to exercise more and doing all those things. I'm a huge advocate for lifestyle change, but unfortunately, there's a point in time where our insulin receptors typically do get damaged, and when they do get damaged, they ultimately do not allow insulin into the receptor well. When insulin can't get into the receptor, what happens from there is the cell can't be unlocked and you can't get sugar into the cell. Well, when you can't get sugar into the cell, you end up with extreme tiredness and fatigue. So when we get sugar into the cell, for every molecule of sugar that goes into the cell, it produces 36 molecules of ATP, or energy. So this is what starts to happen almost immediately with PIR therapy. You're going to notice your energy levels come up. You're going to notice your sleep quality getting better. You're going to notice your diabetic neuropathy improving. You're going to start to notice your retinopathy improve. These are all positive things. As far as I know, there are no real side effects to PIR therapy. I'm not a diabetic, but I actually do PIR therapy myself. Some of the changes I've noticed my vision changed. In the last year, my prescription actually got better. So my eyes went from almost to the point where I needed bifocals or multifocal lenses, and now I don't need them anymore. My prescription went from a -375 down to a -2 just from doing PIR therapy. We've got lots of people out there that are doing this, lots of diabetics that were really frustrated with their health and frustrated with where they were at. Just recently saw a lady in a 4-week period after PIR therapy. She literally, her A1C went from 12 to 6 in 4 weeks, and her diabetic neuropathy has improved to the point to where she can walk on her carpet for the first time in 10 years. She hadn't been able to walk on carpet in 10 years because her diabetic neuropathy was so bad. She's wearing shoes that she hadn't worn in quite some time, and she actually lost 8 pounds in 4 weeks. So we all know what insulin resistance does to us. Anytime we have more elevated insulin levels and insulin is in our blood, ultimately we're probably going to hang on to weight right around the midsection. There's a big myth out there. A lot of people think that being overweight causes diabetes, but when your insulin receptors fails, the likelihood of you being overweight is coming soon. So this is something to think about. If you're looking for a new way, if you know people who are diabetics who are struggling with neuropathy, struggling with retinopathy, struggling with their sugar levels, if they're walking around with their sugar and they know it's 300 and 400 or even higher. We see people that are higher than that and they just don't know what else to do. They're already taking medications. They've changed their diet. They've started exercising and they've gotten a minimal response. PIR therapy is a great opportunity for them to just do a hard reset on their health and get them where they want to be. I'm Dr. Hubert. I'm the owner of Advanced Remedy Center in Tyler, Texas, and I am the official health and wellness expert for East Texas Locals.